Hello and welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Eric, joined once again with Bevan,
Hey guys.
bringing you some more Dallas, season 7, episodes 13 to 16. Tommy, you'll roll the credits and we'll chat. Before we start, I didn't know if you knew. Well, I kind of didn't know, but there was somebody else casted as Catherine before um, Morgan took over the role. It was Delta Burke. Do you know who she is down there?
No.
No, she was in a show called Designing Women, which was pretty big in the 80s.
Yeah.
But she actually signed a contract for another show that wasn't picked up, but then it got picked up when she had gotten the role of Catherine Wentworth. So since it got picked up, she was contractually obligated to do the other show, which was a
Yeah.
spoof, which was a spoof series of Dallas called Filthy Rich. Isn't that weird? So she got the Dallas, and then she had to leave, not be on the show. So then they, of course, said, was it Morgan? Why am I blanking
Brittany.
on her last name? Thank you, Morgan Brittany. Easiest name, and I forgot it. And then, of course, Howard Keel was casted as Clayton, and he was only supposed to make 2 appearances, but fans were so happy and wrote letters about him that that's how he's here. Season 7, episode 13, Past Imperfect, directed by Larry Hagman. JR comes to work, all mad about Ellie and Clayton and the engagement.
Yeah.
Um, Mama, of course, can't be happy. Clayton can't be happy. Nobody can be happy in JR land. He thinks he's doing the best thing for his mother when, of course, he just doesn't like Clayton and doesn't want Clayton around. And he goes to Bobby, and I think Bobby even says, like, I'm hesitant to. Like, I mean, that's weird because we lost our dad, like, but if he makes mom happy, that's what I'm all about. Ellie and Clayton are on with Teresa the maid, who had passed away, which I thought it was this July, but it was several Julys ago in 2022. So Teresa is no longer with us. I didn't realize how many episodes she was in. When I looked her up, she was in 112 Dallas episodes she's listed in. So I guess she stays like on, and this is why she should have been in the new Dallas or mentioned.
It made more sense if they would have just paid attention a little bit to the original show a bit more.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Considering
a
it
lot
was
more.
considering it wasn't like the Dynasty reboot, which just basically started its own thing, like, used the original show as its base.
Yeah, like I feel like Dallas probably would have been better off if they did something like that, but whatever.
No, this is the thing though. It's what happens when they want to cash in on an existing fan base, but they don't really understand why the stories sort of mattered. Or so like one big thing that I sort of found with the new series, it took them till nearly in their first season is quite short, so granted there's that. But it took them nearly like till the end of the season before you actually see the Ewings sort of come together in any real way. And the fighting all seems a little it doesn't start to feel like authentically Dallas, I think, until later in the season. I don't know. Like, I don't dislike the Redux show. Like, it had its moments.
Yeah,
But I just think that with a series that had the history that it had, that they did not use it as effectively as they could have. Like, even in the last
for sure.
episode, like, JR suddenly has a daughter when we already know he had another son. Like, what's the point
Right,
of that? That was dumb. It's because they didn't pay attention. It's simple. It has to be.
right,
Because why else
right.
would you create a plot device that already exists?
The difference is too was Dynasty with the Dynasty reboot actually involved the creators of the original Dynasty,
Mm.
where the Dallas reboot had nothing to do with the creators of it, but had to do with the cast of it.
Well,
So
you
they
see,
didn't.
I've actually always thought too that the Dynasty stuff was better when they did their own thing. So when they were copying plots or like like mirroring plots and stuff like that, very few of them I think landed effectively. There's because I love that show, but they did do a disservice to some of the stories, and that includes the baby one, where they create an artificial connection with Sammy Joe and this baby in order to do the Claudia dropping off the roof storyline. When that was
Right.
actually kind of heartbreaking to watch. Like, it just it just didn't carry this. It's not even so much that it was bad. It just doesn't carry the same gravitas, you know? And
Well,
there's no
they were
real link
trying.
to that.
They were trying to be quick with it. Like that's the difference
But
with
then just
that.
don't
So
do it
all
at
of
all. Just don't do it at all then.
see, I appreciated that. I like that they gave nods, and I like that it went so quick. But anyway, we gotta get back
I
to
think that
Dallas.
like they true. But I think that they did things like Crystal's double thing. They did that better because that is a ridiculous storyline in of itself.
I
And I
love
don't
that's
know.
like one
I
of my
just
favorite stories.
yeah, and I thought the way they did it in the remake was fine, but it sort of fit the
Right,
tone. Whereas that's what I mean is I think that that show did better when it went on its own path, like
right,
and
right.
all that. Whereas I just think with the Dallas Redux, like I feel like I don't know, it was too much of like it's too much of like how Dallas is remembered rather than just being the show like thing the show, you know?
Right. They didn't appreciate the original. So Ellie and Clayton are on. She wants him to stay at South Fork. She's like, maybe you should move in now. He's like, maybe not. Like this is a little awkward. I'm just kind of getting along here. He's like, well, we can always move when we get married. She's like, I ain't moving. Sorry, buddy. Um, I love how John Ross is like obsessed with Peter through all of these. He's like, he misses Peter. He of course mentions it to Sue Ellen. Sue Ellen questions JR about Ellie's marriage. She's like, "Are you going to let this happen? I know you're going to not let it happen." Like, she's already on to him. Like, I know you're doing something. She's like, let Miss Ellie be happy. He's like,
Yeah,
I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything. She's like, I really hope you're not lying. Like, she's
yeah.
getting all over his case. Um, Bobby meets with Jordan Lee about this offshore crap. And Andy. They want to join forces again, but they don't want to, but Bobby wants to. And he's like, well, we want to try to. I guess I know the offshore thing they mentioned how expensive it is. It could be millions of dollars and they might not find anything offshore. I mean, I guess it's like going in blind. Like you're just kind of picking like part of an ocean and trying to find oil in it. I don't know if they could track, I wonder if they could track that now. Like underwater divers and stuff. They, of course, are hesitant. They're like, no, it's too risky for Jordan. He's already late in life, and he's like, I'm not going to do it. But I guess other parts of the cartel can if they want to. It's up to them. JR asks Harry to investigate Clayton. I almost said Clinton. Um, Sue Ellen drops John Ross off at school, and Peter's there, like waiting for her, kind of. He's kind of creepy in these. I kind of like what rewatching it. I'm like, it almost seems a little bit stalkery and
Yeah,
awkward.
I mean, I don't know. I
Lovesick puppy.
yeah, it's more like that, I think. I don't know, like I think that's like I don't know. Keep going.
I don't know. We'll get to it. Sly and Cliff meet up. She's still giving him information that JR wants to about Edgar Randolph this time. I'm confused at what JR's like leaking to him. Like I don't understand exactly. I forget what it leads to, but
He
because I
basically gets he tricks Cliff into overbidding for one of the sites.
but he's actually giving like true information to him
Yeah, but
while
in a
doing
way
it.
that so what I mean though is like he basically gets him to overbid on something without the guarantee that it's going to actually pay off. And
To
so
be
like
to come
and
into
that's why he
fruition.
wants that's also why he wants Edgar Randolph's bids, because then he knows which ones are worth more, blah blah blah. And he can like
Hmm.
outbid other people. It's the whole point of it being a secret auction, is so that you can
Okay,
avoid these sort of competition things. But Cliff and JR are
gotcha.
both kind of trying to undermine it. And what was it? He more or less, from what I remember, he more or less tricks Cliff into overbidding, and Cliff is on the verge of bankruptcy until like towards the end of season 7, until it like comes
Right,
through at the last minute.
right.
I'm pretty sure that's the way it sort of plays out.
Yeah, I don't remember. Peter and Sue Ellen talk. He's like, I won't do it again. Like just showing up random, stalking
Mm.
her type thing. Um, Mark and Pam are at lunch. She's overwhelmed with business. She doesn't want to talk business talk. She's like, what happened to like us just hanging out and like chilling and talking fun? Bobby wants to buy a business for Jenna, the boutique, and she's like, no, I want no parts of it. I'm not going to be a kept woman, which is what you were saying in the last podcast about how Jenna is very different this time. She wants to like kind of earn her keep, earn her
Well,
place.
it's just that the writers are making an effort to show that she's like a
Right.
different.
right, like a changed character kind of. But it's
Yeah,
good. It's for the
grand.
better because it makes her a little bit more likable. Not that she wasn't
Well, it's not
likable
even just
before,
that.
played by different
Characters. See,
actresses.
the thing is people do actually change over time. So
Right.
like, and it's good to see characters progress and change and characterize. I mean, like, it's
Hmm.
something that I think took a little while. Even like every so often, even I find that it kind of doesn't. It's like Sammy Brady on Days of Our Lives. It just sort of took a little bit too long for her to learn anything, you know,
Right.
where and even though I know that she's always sort of like the bad guy and stuff like that,
Yeah.
now it's a little bit better because they play on all that history. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Right.
whereas before it just, I mean, it's just kind of like silly because
Yeah.
she's the same person for years, even after all these traumatic things happen. And I get that it's like this
Right.
idea that Sammy never learned, but Sammy never even changed at all,
I
like
think
for
I
a
think
long
for Sammy
time.
too. I think for Sammy too, it was like a traumatic event. So like
Mm.
when things happen to her, like with like John Black, that's why she has issues with John because she saw Marlena and John sleeping together
Like
on a
that's not
table at
traumatic.
work.
Okay, I just, you know what? Unless
It
John was
kind
like,
of it kind of is because she loved her dad and she loved her family, and then he
no,
cheated.
just the
It,
way they
in
brought me.
in Sammy's head, it was definitely traumatic because she look how the story drove it up until like last year. But anyway, back to dad.
I believe that they drive it. I don't believe it's a real thing because heaps of
Right. Oh, for
kids of
sure.
their parents or step parent, with the step parent, even sometimes a bit more than they should. Heaps of kids have walked in
Right.
on parents having sex. It's just
Right.
like, and you know what Days is? It was all
Well, they were.
loving and
It
stuff
was.
like that. So it's not like she,
He
don't get
was.
me wrong.
They were
It has
cheating
always annoyed
on
me.
her
It always annoyed
daddy.
me, and it never felt like but even like, and I get what you were saying. I do in the context of everything. I laugh about it, but I
Right.
do get it and what they were trying to say with the story. But the thing
Right.
is that they have. I mean, even when I was watching, where I'm watching in like 2008, like she's
Right.
still doing it, and this happened in like '96, and she was. And
Right.
if you're saying that they pushed this right up until recently, even that means that there's like another like 14 years of this bullshit. And that's all I'm sort of
Mhm.
saying is that,
It's
yeah,
it's a
they don't focus
it's
that
a
hard on what happened with
it's a
EJ in that
trigger.
fucking car. No, but
Right.
they
It's
don't
a
focus that hard on EJ.
they
EJ's
do
still like,
now.
oh, yeah,
They do now.
now, because it's
20
actually
years later.
traumatic. Yeah, and
Right.
that's actually traumatic. Like, not
Right.
just
Right.
like being shocked at your mum's lack of morals one time. Jesus Christ.
Right.
Like,
Right.
don't
All
get me
right.
wrong, but
So
it's just that element of it's good when characters do develop and change. I don't care if they go back to being assholes, mind you. It's just more that like I like seeing the growth and the development, you know.
right. That's my
And
problem with the Dynasty reunion. Everybody regressed to their old characters. But anyway.
yeah, I do think
Um.
that's a good point myself. Yeah,
Yeah. Like Sammy Joe made a lot of progress and then like got shitty again. But anyway.
well,
Clayton gives Clayton gives Ellie a ring at dinner. It's a huge diamond ring. Because I guess he didn't give her one when he proposed the first time. I guess he didn't have one where they were or whatever. They just got engaged or just agreed to get married.
yeah, I think that's all it really was, wasn't it? It was just kind of a mention. This would
Yeah.
be all the official stuff.
And to do it in front of the family, like everybody was
Yeah,
there. Afton, Mark, Pam, and Cliff do dinner. They talk about the offshore tracks and other bullshit. I like that Afton made like a point to bring up his Chinese boxes. She's like the Chinese food boxes. She's like he prefers them from that where she's actually like been making food for him and he's like enjoying the food now. He's like, oh,
yeah.
like she can cook. I guess she has nothing else to do. 'Cause I think she
She's
got a
sick and
new
tired
gig.
of Chinese. That's what it is.
Yeah, and they didn't get back into her music career. Like she got a new gig and they didn't even like go or anything. I was surprised by that
Yeah, I
because
am
it
actually
kind
a little surprised that because I know Afton is sort of takes somewhat of a backseat, but I just feel like I remember
yeah,
misremembering season 7, and they're only going to be using her for when she starts getting angry at Cliff, which pisses me off a little bit.
yeah, it is. I know it's sad because she's good and they're good together. It's a shame.
Yeah, they have a good
Um,
dynamic as well. Like I don't care if they ultimately broke up. It just would have been good to see them actually still also doing relationship stuff before it falls apart.
when they bring her back, it's better for those like 5 episodes that she's on. It's I think they have like she's on more, I feel like, than she was in this whole season, I think. When she comes back for those 5 episodes. It's sad but true.
That's in the later seasons, isn't it? She comes back.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah, I
want to
thought.
say like 10, 11. Like it's pretty late. Maybe even
Yeah,
12.
I thought. Yeah, I know. I know it's pretty late, but I can't remember when exactly either.
Yeah. Catherine's in Italy looking for Ronaldo Marchetta, however you say it. That's
They
like
say
her
it as
only
both,
seed.
don't they? I think sometimes someone says it as
They do.
machetta. Yeah, they just use it. Yeah,
They do. I guess it's however, I don't know, however you're supposed to say it, or the American way is probably like Marquetta, but it's probably Marchetta. I don't know.
I have no clue. I mean, like I said, it's American people saying it in Dallas, and it's still both ways. Like,
Right. Sue Ellen gets a letter on her car from Peter, meet at a coffee shop. He has an apartment for them. She's like, what are you talking about? What are you doing? I don't want this relationship. She crushes his little heart in her hand, and I
I
think
think I
that's
just
it
have a
for
problem
them
with
in this
Peter
one.
being portrayed as juvenile as he is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really a problem. It's not a problem. I mean, I don't like hate it or anything, but it's just like this thing of like, it's like
He
I
might have
found this like
mommy issues.
there's like a scene later where you know how it's like having a chuckle is like where they have their meeting and it's at like a little pizza shop like that
Yeah.
looks like and then this time though when she goes to the apartment I think in like the last episode of this bunch that we're doing he's like shaving and it's just these clear opposite imagery and I'm like oh my god this I don't
I know.
understand rather how it's like I don't exactly understand how they're trying to portray Peter because sometimes he seems
Right.
very juvenile and young
Right.
and then other times it's like he's sort of more of like maybe like
Mature.
emotion mature. Yeah, he knows how he feels even if it's not going to work out, sort of thing. Yada yada.
Right.
It's just a little odd. Like I'm not sure why it's in such polar like opposition almost. You know,
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
like you can be naive young fella in love for the first time and still kind of have like a sense about you, some sense about yourself. You know, like
Right.
I don't know. It's just a little
So
bit weird.
Clayton, Ray, and Bobby meet up with, well, Ray and Bobby meet up with Clayton. He wants to talk about their feelings. How do you feel about me getting married to your mama? JR comes late. He's like, well, I wasn't going to come, but I decided to, whatever. I'll give you a chance and I won't stand in your way. As of course, we all know Harry's all around in these episodes. Yo, Harry, what's going
Yeah,
on? Where's Clayton? Where's my Clayton info? Bobby apologizes to Jenna about offering the company. Harry finds out Clayton's wife died in the fire 20 years ago, but everybody knew that already. And that his sister Jessica lives in England or something. And he's like, oh, Jessica, we never heard of her. Wait
yeah.
for her first. And here she comes. Um, Donna's on. They just talk about Jenna, I think. Donna's very back burner. Lucy's on.
Donna and Ray in these episodes, I feel that
Very
they're the
back
sort of
burner.
yeah, well, like they're back burner, but they're also there like
Supporting.
pushing forwarding like other plots. So like you've got
Right.
like them talking about Bobby and Jenna, and then like there's that scene. Oh, there's that scene. Just bumped everything. There's that scene later where they're all sitting around the dinner table joking with Ellie about how she hasn't set a date and all that sort of stuff.
Uh-huh.
So I
Yeah.
just feel like
I love
largely at this
that.
point. But I also like these little moments where they do sit on back burners because it sort of it has these little scenes where they interact with other stories even lightly, but you see them actually interacting normally with as a couple outside of the drama element. It's like even in daytime, I like it when they do that. Like Bo and Hope can have 14,000 dramas, but it is
Yeah.
nice every couple of months to have them just chilling and being involved with other people's stories. You know?
Right. I like it too. As long as they're not back burner for too long.
Yeah, of
Um,
course. Yeah.
Lucy asks Sue Ellen about Peter. She's like, I found out he's not gone. He's gone. He left school. Sue Ellen, of course, looks a little concerned.
Yeah.
Jenna brings up the boutique with Bobby. She says, like, I'll accept the boutique, but you could be like my loan officer or like financier or whatever, and I'll pay you back every month and all that stuff. So he's like, all right, whatever. And he's being all cute with her. Like, how can you not fall in love with Bobby? He's so adorable and he's I like that they kissed and it led into Pam and Mark's kiss. I like when they do that stuff. They did it a lot on Knots Landing later seasons. And Mark and Pam also blow off Cliff about the cartel because he wants to like do things, and they're like, "Listen, bud, we ain't having it right now."
Yeah, they just wanted to like
Clayton,
chill out and like
yeah,
relax and stuff. And Cliff is, I do like that bit though, because they're like in that scene, they're like pretty clearly into each other, and Cliff just comes there and starts prattling on. I'd ignore him too. Like,
I
and he's like, "Oh, I thought I was talking to someone." I was like, "Did you though? Like, did you?"
know. Right. And Clayton goes to JR about snooping in his life. He JR is legit scared of this man. It is so funny. He's
Oh
like, and
yeah,
he tells, and JR kind of tells him, he's like, listen, I didn't know anything about you, and I'm doing. He tells the truth of what he was doing, so Clayton knows what's coming, you know.
I like it more at the
Um,
end of one fight. I always remember is when everything calms down by season 10 between him and Clayton, and then I think the
the
CIA,
10.
oh sorry, the government is going to shut down Ewing Oil, and Miss Ellie starts crying over it, and he just savages JR. And it's so
Yeah,
funny. I think like
right.
JR's like super nice. He's like, "Hey Clayton, like how's things going?" And Clayton just attacks him. Like,
Yeah, I remember that. I love that too.
too bad he goes down the
Episode four,
stairs. But yeah.
episode 14, Peter's Principles, directed by Patrick Duffy. Lucy's looking for Peter. He's missing in action, basically. Cliff
Yeah.
meets with Marilee. Marilee Stone is back, and Jordan Lee. I'm telling you, we did say this before. Like Marilee is like the female JR in this series. She's
In
always
a lot of ways,
horny and always
it's true,
always
but
wants these guys.
I think she's not quite as ruthless. Like she can be pretty hard, but she's not quite as just mean spirited and ruthless as
Y-
JR is.
Yeah,
She's more
because
like when,
when Cliff was hurt by her hand, she like kind of threw him like an olive branch later, and like when she made him vice president of her company or whatever. So it was like she felt
oh,
really
Mary Lee
guilty
will.
about
I
that.
think I think Mary Lee will absolutely wreck anyone who sort of like comes at her the way she's been come at by some of the people. But I don't think
Right.
I don't know. I she yeah. I mean, she's hard like JR. I just don't think that she's as nasty. She's just not as much
Es-
of a vindictive
Especially
person.
in especially in her business though, because she's always with, basically fighting other men because
Well,
there's no
yeah,
other females in this. So yeah, she's got to be on
she's
point.
kind of got to be a hard ass. Yeah.
And I guess she has to sleep with them too for blackmail reasons, just in case.
Honestly,
Um,
I think the way they play it, I don't think they play Mary Lee like that. Not to say that that would necessarily be this over terrible bad thing, because all the guys are all whoring around anyway. But
right.
I think they sort of make an effort to show Mary Lee being the one in control of situations like that most of the time. And
Yeah.
like, what was it? And that she won't necessarily be used the other way, because when once again, when she realizes that's what JR was actually doing, she sort of was like, freaking hell, look what I've done, look what I've helped do to Cliff, you know?
Right.
Yeah. And
So
yeah. So I don't know. I
Jordan
just don't
Lee
think she's bad.
Jordan Lee turns Cliff down, of course, with the offshore thing because he just turned
Yeah.
down Bobby and all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but Marilee is interested and she stays behind. She's like, "Oh, we'll meet up later, whatever." Sue Ellen talks to Peter's roommate, who's a cutie, by the way, Jeremy. I'm like, or Jerry, I think his name is. He's a
I
cutie.
was loving his sunnies. He had, I saw a pair of sun when I got my flashy ones. There was a pair like that as well, but and like it was a toss up.
That's sunglasses, American people, if you didn't know what sunnies are, because I
Oh
didn't
yeah,
until you told
I
me.
love his sunnies, man. They would look so good on me too. Oh,
I mean, I don't know
I
why
don't
I
know.
think of fish when I see sunnies because we used to catch sunnies in a lake. So that's what I always think of, little fish, like sunfish. Whatever. Anyway,
No, I get it. I
um,
get it.
so Clayton and Ellie do dinner. He can't get a hold of Dusty, so he's a little worried about Dusty. He's also talking about
Mm.
like JR and stuff. I don't think they do anything major in that scene.
No, I think that was
JR,
just like more like just one of those like I think where we sort of get these little random updates on some of the characters that we haven't seen for a while. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because it was like Dusty's
yeah,
birthday or something.
yeah, and he hasn't talked to him. JR meets with Harry again because he wants information on Clayton, stat. John Ross worries about Peter. He's like, "Mom, did you know where Peter is? Have you heard from Peter?" Like he's like all concerned. It's so cute. Um, JR brings up Jessica at the pre-dinner because they're about to have dinner at South Fork. And JR mentions that she should probably be invited to the wedding if there is a wedding. Wink, wink. Afton and Cliff are on. He's just being his normal douchey self. Donna and Ellie work out together and talk about Clayton. And she also mentioned, Miss Ellie mentions that like she hasn't like had sex with. I mean, they kind of allude that she hasn't had sex since Jock, or Jock's the only man she's been with too. So it's hard for her to like kind of move on in that direction with Clayton, which I think in the last episode is why she does what she does.
I always thought stuff like that when
Um,
they do this sort of stuff with Miss Ellie and like Clayton and like this element of like, I think these are like, I like these stories because I just don't even feel like we see them in like modern soap operas with older characters. It doesn't mean that it always has to be
yeah,
an older character even or anything like that, but I like the sweetness of it. It's just the idea of like, you know, a little bit of that shyness because you are so used to being with that one person, you know?
I also
And I
I
think
also
that's
feel
a
like
bit, yeah, keep,
it's back to Dallas with like Miss Ellie back because like I feel like I missed her for those 11 episodes she was not on. So I was just like, it just didn't feel right to me, even if she wasn't like, I don't know. Because now I'm like,
yeah.
Ellie's back and it's Dallas again. We're happy.
Well, it's just, it's sort of these sort of things, these little side plots, because it's not a major, but I like
Right.
these little plots. It was like I really liked was it Jock and Miss Ellie's story where like after her mastectomy, it's
Mm,
obviously they go over her talking I think with Donna and I think even with Pam at some point about like like how she feels about her body and like
right.
getting for her husband again and stuff. And there's all these sort of sad but sort of because it's insecurities and stuff so it's like a sad thing
Yeah.
but it's also so sweet and well done. It's like very human. And then you
Right.
have the male counterpart where Jock is sitting there wanting to make sure that he's not taken aback by the changes to her body that he won't be able to sort of not notice when she's naked, you know.
Yeah, that was
And
really well
it,
written.
yeah, it was so well written, but speaks to the uncertainty of both parties in terms of dealing with this situation, you know? And it was just so well done. And I think stuff like this with Clayton and Miss Ellie, like, you know, almost being like, I wouldn't want to say like schoolgirl, because it's not like that. It's an older woman who's just not used to another man. And
Right, for sure.
it's really sweet. And Clayton,
She's
the way he is
nervous.
about it all too, like yeah, she's nervous, exactly. And
Right.
Clayton,
And
you know,
Clayton is
is the
sweet and great.
gentleman. Yeah, and he's just ever the gentleman, you know?
Hmm. Which is why he was so lovable and people wrote in
Yeah,
back then.
yeah. Howard Keel has that whole vibe too, and him and Barbara Bel Geddes do have a great
Yeah.
chemistry on screen as
They
well.
really
So
do. They really do. Except that one story, like way later, that I can't wait to talk about because it disturbs me. But anyway, Cliff
I think
and
I might know the one
Marilee,
you're talking about.
you probably
I
do.
think so. I think so.
Cliff and Marilee hang out. Of course, they're doing this business deal, talking, and she's horny because that's what she does when she gets her business deals going. Um, and Afton gets home and sees them together. They're not naked. They're just like on the sofa. Of course, I feel like Afton overreacted, but if they were naked, of course she wouldn't be overreacting. But she's like, you weren't supposed to be here. He's like, you weren't supposed to be here, and something happened at whatever she was singing at, whatever. Um, and Afton goes
It's
and stays
more
with
that I think the
Pam.
situation is like they both basically say that to each other. So it's like, is
Yeah.
this a plan sort of thing? And I think it's you know, I thought it was, I expected Cliff to say something like that to her, and he does.
And what does horny Marilee say? Oh, is she gonna stay out all night?
Yeah,
Yeah, Marilee wanted to get laid.
yeah.
And he's like, I don't know, but they ended their night, whatever. Peter's roommate tips off Sue Ellen. He'll be back tomorrow, just like collecting his things and brings them
Quickly
to his
though,
apartment.
I feel like the thing is though, is in all that, Cliff's like, so like Afton's picking up on the intention. So if Cliff, he looks down on Afton as if sleeping for a deal isn't something that he would do and has done before.
Right.
So I don't know. And then he throws it in her face, and it's
Yeah,
like,
well,
you know,
I
you're
know.
a douche.
He kind of had to. Um, I feel, but we'll get into that in a minute when it
Yeah,
happens. But JR and Ellie talk about Clayton. I think they were just like at breakfast, and he's like, "Whatever, I support you, Mama." Of course, we know he's gone behind everybody's back and doing his own thing to try to get Clayton out.
like he always
Um,
does. He's just trying to
of
find
course,
something at the moment that he hopes will get Clayton away. You know?
right. Pamela gets on Cliff about Afton and the Ewing fight, and I think this is where she gets like nervous about him. She's like, he's acting the fool again. with this
Yeah.
viewing shit because she thought it was all over because he really didn't like bring it up, but like
No.
he's just like, I want to
Yeah,
be
Chris
the
done actually
powerful
pretty well.
man.
He's he's done pretty well of like keeping it kind of away from Pam in general.
I like when Ray meets with Clayton, and Clayton's like, we're kind of similar. Like, we're kind of like, you were found out you were Ewing later, and we're in similar positions, and they have a good conversation about that being like the outsiders. I guess they're just using Ray whenever they can because he's really like side story.
I mean, Ray, I think, is always somewhat of a guess of an outsider, but it's never helped by the fact that JR makes him feel that way. Like whenever it's relevant, it's not like Miss Ellie ends up treating Ray just like her own
Oh, for
son,
sure.
you know.
Yeah.
And like, and I do know that she had that bitterness towards him for a little bit there, but like after that, it's not even a thing. And
I love when she had that bitter. I know you didn't love when she had that, but I loved it. I like the drama that
it's,
I
you know, I
caused.
look, it's understandable. I didn't love it because but it speaks to the fact that even like the best of us can be a little petty because Miss Ellie's always like the rise
True.
above, you know. But I'm
But
also
is
the
she?
type that's like, yeah, yeah. But I'm always the type too that just like you don't blame the freaking kids for shit they can't control.
Jenna is using her connections to get her boutique going. Pamela calls Bobby, asks to do dinner with them because she has to talk to him about something. Why do they have to do dinner? Can you just like meet me at the house? Like, I
Well,
don't know,
isn't this the
whatever.
whole thing of? Isn't this the whole thing of like why Mark is like annoyed about it? That's the whole
Right.
thing. There was no real need for her to do this like this, you know.
Yeah, like
And
why'd you have to go to dinner? Like, I
and
don't know.
even I think even Jenna says something about that as well. And to
I
Bobby,
loved it
but the thing is
being
though, right?
being
Bobby doesn't even pick up on it either because he doesn't even think about it like that until he talks to Jenna. Because there's that little bit in
yeah,
that little
but
scene where they're walking, and Bobby clicks. He's like, "Oh, like maybe she did want to talk to me," you
but
know?
Pam doesn't think that either because it's just
No,
Pam and that's what she does. And then
yeah,
after she
that's what I
says it,
mean.
she's like, "Oh, he thought that," and she's like,
I didn't
"Maybe
even.
I did do that," because it's Pam and she don't think a lot
Yeah,
of times.
well, like she doesn't think, but I think it's like a natural reaction. You know what I mean? Because like
Right.
every time that this sort of shit has happened, she's always had to go. She's talked to Bobby about it, and they've usually like come at it from some
Can
level. Of course,
figure something out.
I
Yeah.
think it's just a force of habit, and because Bobby's the protector. You know, like he was like,
Yeah.
yeah, like not just the protector, obviously, but like he very much was that for her as well, quite a few times through that show. Like
Yeah.
just in what JR used to say about her, like, um, but yeah. So
Right.
I sort of get it. But where you say like, I agree with you. I think that was the whole point of it. Is like you have this lovely little scene between them, but then reality sets in when Jenna and Mark hear about it, and it's the logistics of it. It's like, well, this is where I can kind of where you know how I was saying like last season, towards the end of last season and earlier this season, he keeps pushing for the divorce, and it's like she
Right.
can't just move on like that. Well, in something
Right.
like this, I can understand why he'd be frustrated because there's more time. The divorce has occurred. Wait, the divorce has gone through, hasn't it? It has.
Yeah. Yeah, they're
Um,
divorced.
yeah, that's what I thought. I was just making sure. I think I missed a scene in my head, but like
Mm.
and all that. So I do sort of get more that Mark might be a bit uncomfortable with it. And you can tell Jenna is too, but she's taking it all in her stride. I think that woman, the
Yeah.
way they're writing her is so smart. She realizes that she's dealing with a man that is still pretty much in love with his ex-wife.
I love that he invited Jenna along too. He's like, "Why don't you come to dinner
Yeah.
then with Pam?" Like he does
Yeah.
because he thinks nothing of it. And
Yeah.
she's like, "Hell no." She's like, "No, I don't want to be a part of
Yeah.
that."
Yeah. I'm not doing
That
that.
was funny.
Like,
I like her
I like the
reaction.
reality of it. I would be the same. I'd be like, no, no, no. Me making the observation doesn't mean I want to come. It means I'm making the
Right.
observation. Like,
But I feel like she should have went. I'm like, I will go because I would have stake in my man. I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna go. Sure, why not?
she's not making
If it's
claim until there's a
if
reason to
it's
make claim. I
yeah,
actually really like the way they're
but it's
doing
not
Jenna.
even but it's not even like claim. It's still like just going because they're divorced. Like, why can't my
He
girlfriend come
can.
with me?
He can.
Right.
But she's also very aware that this is
I
all
know.
because of their issues with each other. And
Right,
they need
right.
to work them out before anything really happens. That's another reason why she rejects his notion to buy her a shot because like, there's also the obligation that comes with money, but it's also that thing of like, no, you can't do these grand gestures also while you're still mooning over another woman. It's not, one, it's not really appropriate. And two, she doesn't want that. She's even said that earlier on, you know?
Right. So Sue Ellen finds Peter. She's like, "You can't give up your life. You're doing all this stuff." He's all upset. And she finds out like his apartment number from the roommate
Yeah,
or whatever later on or whatever. After I guess Peter goes off, he runs off again. Pam and Bobby meet up, and it's at her favorite restaurant. She's like, "Oh, you remember? Do you know it was my favorite restaurant?" And they have this cute moment, and they get all their stuff out. Like in the beginning, he's like, "How's Mark?" And then he
mm.
like makes her say, "How's Jenna?" And then they can go on with their nice little dinner, and it's for Pam and Bobby fans like myself because I was like, "Oh, I love their chemistry, and they're so cute together when they're cute together. I mean, when
It's
they're
like
not cute
it was
together, they're
like
not
the
cute together.
awkward not together togetherness that they had, and that actually really came through quite well on screen. I agree.
It did. It did. She talks about the cliff problem, and he's bringing up Ewing again. He's like, "Well, I'm not really surprised," and she mentions the offshore drilling. And that's when
Yeah,
Bobby's like, he's like, "I wouldn't do that." He like just suggested to her, like, "Don't get into that. It's expensive, and this is where, you just kind of find a spot. They just go in blind, basically, and you
he
might not
rattles off
find
the
any
numbers
oil."
like it's a couple of $100,000 just to get the rigs out
Right.
there. Like and you could be spending like thousands and thousands before you even are able to like properly drill or something like that. Like more money once you get. I can't remember
Millions.
exactly, but they do have Bobby
Yeah,
like list of a whole bunch of things.
yeah. So he's kind of just warning her not to get into it if Cliff tries to. She's supposed to be a part of the company, so she should have say.
Yeah,
Donna and Randolph meet up and talk about him possibly moving to Dallas with his family. Jenna thinks Pam just wanted a night with Bobby, which we talked about. Mark's not happy that she had a night with Bobby. He's like, "Why would you do that? Like, did you really need to see him? Like,
I do
why?"
hate that a night with Bobby. Like they had dinner. Like yes, I get that, but they didn't have like a night together. A night together would be if they went to each
Right,
other's rooms. Like come on now.
right. You spent like an
But yeah,
hour at dinner, an hour or two,
yeah. And then she went home to
whatever.
Mark, and
I
he
know.
probably didn't go home to Jenna, but he probably would have went home and called Jenna.
Afton leaves the house to be with Cliff again because he was staying with them. But she's going home like to basically clear out her stuff. I think that happens in the next episode. Um, so Ellen goes to Peter's apartment. He says he's leaving Dallas. She kind of they talk, they kiss, and I think they have sex because that's what it looked like they were going to do, but we didn't
Yeah,
officially
definitely.
see anything.
Yeah, that was definitely like a dramatic. She gives in to temptation element there, and he's just like saying, "I'm okay with it not meaning anything if we have this moment," which is complete, not a lie. But like the
Sue
lies
Ellen
of
don't
love.
even know what she's doing. I feel like Sue Ellen needs Dr. Elby back. Because like I feel like she's like this is the way like Linda Gray plays it. Like she's just confused and she cares about this boy, but like wants the best for him and wants him to leave town before like JR can get his hands on him. Like she has a lot going on in her head. She's just like, "You're
Yeah.
so innocent. Like, boy, leave town. Like, please don't." That's why she's like pushing him away. Like, please, just leave me
Well,
alone because that's the way I feel. Like, I think she cares about him, but like, not like that. She's like, "You're too young. Like, it'll never work." Like, she knows in her head she's fighting herself.
it was yeah. It's like it's just that relationship doomed to fail because there was never really any
Right.
way that gonna even if she left JR, there wasn't any way that she was gonna be with him. You know.
Right.
Um, and he's presumably supposed to be in his early 20s. He's sort of come across someone for the first time that he's actually cares deeply for. It's not like something won't happen again, and it won't be this hard. See, that's the thing. That's the one thing about the soapies that I think is like the opposite in real life. In the soapies, all the trials and tribulations teach them that they're ultimately supposed to be together. Where in reality, there shouldn't be that many trials and tribulations. It shouldn't be
Right.
constant. It shouldn't be so hard to be together, you know? So like
Yeah.
in a realistic sense, he's absolutely going to be fine. And this isn't the first time he's gonna fall in love. But in the soapy sense, it's all sort of heightened and she's his love and like all that sort of stuff, you know?
Episode 15, Offshore Crude. Bobby JR and Lucy, they talk about the offshore crude stuff and the Ewing feud. Sue Ellen gets home. She heads right upstairs to John Ross and she tells him that she found his friend. He's like,
Mhm.
"Peter, how's Peter?" She has some words with JR at that point.
Mm.
Still in her own room, leave me alone type thing. Cliff bought Afton flowers. She kind of flips out. She's like, "You think flowers is gonna solve this? Like, come on, man!" Like, and that's when I think he brings up the affair at that point,
Was
right?
it
Or the not affair, but
what was it like
kind
Gil
of
or some ridiculous pick name that he had? I can't remember.
yeah, it was Gil.
Oh, Gil.
Nasty, slimy. I don't know how she was
Yeah.
able to sleep with that
Oh
man.
God, was he? They really did make him look like such a slee. Oh, he was, but like he looked the role too.
I know. They do really good casting sleaze. Balls.
Yeah.
But after that, like she's like whatever, and he says, and I didn't sleep, but like he just says, I did not sleep. Not that he won't in the future, because you never know. But but he didn't this time,
Yeah.
so he was telling the truth. And Afton does stay, but reluctantly. She like goes upstairs and just all mad.
I sort of understand that why she's angry with him and stuff.
Oh, for sure, I do too. The
I'm
dude,
pretty
but
sure Cliff and
I would
Mary
have
Lee deal
believed.
with him.
I would have believed Cliff though until he gave me a reason not to. Like I wouldn't have been as dramatic. I would have been like, oh, okay. And then if I caught them in another situation, then I'd be like, all right, I'm done. You know what I mean? Like that would be like two times. So Catherine's still in Italy. Dude tells her that Ronaldo disappeared. They can't find him. He loses jobs. He loses money. So I don't know if he's piss poor somewhere. He could be in jail somewhere. We don't know where he's at
Kind
this
of
point.
the way Noldo always sounded to me was like
Mm.
a little bit like a sort of like a pretty boy
Con
con man type
artist.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
like just
yeah.
roots around with rich ladies and then drops them when he's got his money or he has his fill.
Peter calls Sue, or he calls South Fork, but Lucy answers the phone. She invites him to come over Saturday. She's like, "Oh my God, I'm glad you're okay." And she tells Sue Ellen, and Sue Ellen's just in the background, like looking all guilty, but then like, "Oh, that's nice. We found them. Good." And she's like, "What? Don't you care?" She's like, "I care. You know,
Not
John Ross
really.
cares about him." She is good with playing that she doesn't care. Bobby and JR talk about the offshore shit.
I honestly
Um,
think that Pete don't Sue. I feel like Sue Ellen and Peter don't have sex again, and yet this storyline was so controversial back in the day, wasn't it? It's like a big deal.
it was,
It's crazy
yes.
to me that it's a big deal.
I feel like they do. They do, maybe. I thought they did, like at least one other time, but I could be wrong. Like it's not till like the end of the season, though.
And it's like I
Um,
feel like it's a really like quick thing too. Like I want to say in like the last 3 or 4. I can have to what I need to just binge through the rest of this.
um. So yeah, so Bobby talks about the offshore things, but they can't get a partner. JR's like, well, I'll take it on myself, whatever. I don't know what's happening. I don't get it, but they need a partner for this because it's a lot of money and you can't do it alone. You're not supposed to do it alone, but JR, of course, doesn't care. He tells, I think Sly, tell Cliff that he's going to go in it alone. But again, I don't know what this leads to for Cliff to do. I guess, like you said, the whatever
I'm
the
fairly certain this is to get him to basically overbid on a chunk of like ocean that doesn't have oil. But
okay
um, I think JR
that he
stuffs
knows
up.
doesn't have oil
Yeah, I think he thinks that it's like either it doesn't have oil or Cliff will run out of money before he'll reach it because of how far down it
before he
is.
reach it, right?
But yeah, I can't remember which. But he's basically betting on the fact that Cliff will run out of money, and then it comes in. I swear in like the last freaking few minutes of the final episode, and then
Yeah, I
obviously we
think
get.
I remember that.
I'm pretty because I'm pretty sure it's what's her face. Oh my god, I just had her name. Yeah, it's Jackie. I'm pretty sure she comes in and tells Cliff because she gets the call about it.
Pam and Cliff talk. He claims to be backing down off the drilling, whatever. I think he's just trying to simmer it down a little bit, so because she's like pissed off at him.
Yeah,
Um, they talk about having like a family dinner this weekend. Like everyone will be around. Sue Ellen talks about leaving town, but she's like, ah, whatever, I'll stay. And everybody, just like a Ewing party. I feel like this was like a filler episode, some of it. Um, Clayton and Ellie do dinner. Ellie asks about Jessie because she didn't know about. She's like, "Oh, you never told me about your sister." He's like, "Yeah, she lives in England, married a count, all this stuff."
crazy as a bag of hammers.
Well, he didn't say that. We didn't know that yet.
Well, crazy as
Um,
The bag of hammers. I'm merging my sayings now because I didn't think of the right one in the first place.
Pamela apologizes to Bobby about dinner. He's like, it was fine. We had a nice dinner. No big deal. Whatever. They're just friends. Peter gets to Southport. They swim. JR meets with Randolph or Edgar. Edgar Randolph. Edgar wants no parts of him. Peter gives the number to Sue Ellen. Oh yeah, his phone number. She's like, "What are you doing? Why would you give that to me here?" He's like, "Dude, it's my number. Call me, whatever." Mark and Pam talk about the offshore shit. They play tennis at the South Fork. They're doing pool races. JR comes home, makes a snide comment about Peter. It's something like, "Oh," he's like, "We missed you around here," and then Peter's like, "Oh yeah, I was here." And he's like, "We didn't miss you that much." I guess he didn't even want him to talk. I don't know. Sue Ellen has a headache, so Sue Ellen's upstairs. He goes says something to her. She's basically like, "Get out of my room, leave me alone."
And she's just avoiding Peter as well.
Well, yeah, of course. Sly gives Cliff fake news about Edgar and all that. Cliff and Mara Lee partner up. Catherine returns home, um, and she says something like, "It's got to be like Charlie holding Jenna and Bobby together." She doesn't understand why else they would be together, which is weird. So Ellen goes to Peter to talk to herself because he shaves and can't hear a thing she says. Then he comes out and he's like, "I love you," and then they hug. Like,
And then I need you and like all that stuff. And she's like, oh.
so episode 16 is Some Do, Some Don't, directed by Larry Hagman. Ellie, Clayton, Lucy, and Donna are hanging out. This is what we were talking about in the kitchen, making muffins. I don't know how many muffins they're making, but there's like 400 muffins. I don't know if they're making them for the neighborhood. I don't know what's happening.
Or like a charity
Um,
drive or something.
but Ellie talks about how he likes to dance with these people. Like he dances all night. I think they had gone out dancing in the previous episode. We didn't see
That's
it.
their like stories while they were traveling. Yeah. I thought that was a
With all the
nice
kids.
thing there. Once again, it just sort of shows that Clayton and Elliot aren't just sort of these the matriarch patriarch sort of roles. They are human as well.
Which the actor Howard Keel goes back to. He does actually is a real life dancer. He
Ah.
goes back to the 50s and 60s. He was in a musical called Oklahoma, and
Mm-hmm.
he was in a bunch of other musicals too when he was younger. So I think that's
Like an
kind of like
inside
a
joke.
throwback or like yeah, like an inside thing for like what he actually is. So I thought that was cute, and yeah, I think he was on Broadway and stuff too.
Oh wow.
Um,
Like a full
yeah,
rounds.
Travis is back. That hot blonde man with beautiful blue eyes who was in Edge of Night. Bobby and Travis talk about he wants to sell his company. He wants $40 million. I guess he drove his company to the ground. That's what JR says. Because why else would he? Although, how could you get $40 million for it if you did?
Or maybe it was worth more than that before.
And since Bobby passed on his last deal, whatever that was, I can't remember. Um, he's like, well, I'm giving you another chance at a deal, and whatever. Before I guess
Yeah,
I think did Cliff go for the other deal? I can't remember what it was.
I can't remember either. Actually, far out because that was only like last season too, wasn't it?
No, it was like earlier this season. So I guess
Oh, that's
whatever.
worse.
Watch
I
our.
thought it was last season.
No, I think it was like season 7, the first batch. We go back to our first several. I might have to do the same. Anyway, Peter and Sue Ellen meet up. He talks about his goals. She talks about like what do you want? He's like, what do you want? I don't think either of them know what they want. Peter thinks he wants Sue Ellen and just like to be happily ever after, but clearly we know that can't happen, which we talked about.
It's not going to happen.
Clayton and Ray do a cattle auction together. Donna and Edgar meet up. She knows something's up with him because he's acting weird because we know JR kind of threatened him last episode. Talk about
Yeah.
JR. She's like, listen, you're a good dude. You've been great. I known you for 10 years. Sam known you. You have a great reputation. There's nothing he could do to you. He can't touch you. So I guess Edgar somehow gets up the balls to stand up to JR later on. Bobby wants JR to sign for the deal with Travis. He's like, no, but then he like has Sly go and tell Cliff about the deal, so Cliff can try. I don't know. He's just throwing all these bones to Cliff,
He's baiting Cliff.
right? And some of it, I guess, some of it's true and some of it's not. So then Cliff like won't know what's going on.
Well, like, what was it? It's just them name dropping and everything. He's dropped Edgar Randolph because he knows that Cliff is he's gonna conflate it and immediately think that Edgar's just working for JR rather than what's actually happening. You know what I mean? Like JR's
Right.
completely utterly setting him up. And with like
Jennifer.
Edgar Randolph in that scene with Donna, I always saw when I was watching that, I saw that more as Edgar kind of fishing for information. So he's like, okay, so I've heard about this JR and all that, but how far? Surely the man's not as bad as the rumors say. And it's like, no, he
Mm,
is. You know, and
right.
I think that's where he's sort of like, okay, so I am dealing with basically a lunatic.
Jennifer. Jenna forgot about her date with Bobby. She was supposed to go to the symphony with him or something. Because she's doing boutique shit. And he's like, "Oh, well, you get ready quick." She's like, "I can't, dude. I can't be ready that fast. Gotta do her hair, done up. She's in like her lingerie or whatever, her
It's also
nightgown."
the 80s, so you know there's a lot of hair to do.
Well, yeah, exactly. It took like an hour to do your hair back then. Spray it up in a helmet. Cliff and Mark are playing video games. That was fun. Donna gets on Clayton and Ellie to pick the wedding date, which is what we talked about earlier. Merrily meets with Pam. She wants to meet with Cliff, but he's not there, so she meets with Pam. Pam's like, I don't want him to be involved with you. I'm Team Afton. And she's just like, she says, make some comment, like, get your life together before you say something about my life or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, which she has a point. Like, Pam never has her life together, so what, she's right.
Pam's not
JR and
actively going to wreck another relationship either, though.
right. JR and Edgar meet up. Edgar's like, go to hell. I'll quit you before you try blackmailing me, or I'll quit and give up. I've got my resignation ready. He's like, no, I'm going to keep your secret and I'm going to reveal it if you do resign. So he kind of forces them to stay on.
He thinks that quitting will remove the leverage, but it doesn't because JR is vindictive.
Catherine goes to see Bobby. She's like, I left because of you. He, like, I guess feels a little bit bad, but not really. He's like, whatever. Gives her a hug. She leaves. So Ellen and Peter are ice skating. This is where they bump into his friends and they're kind of shitty. Did you notice the one friend? You just watched Falcon Crest recently. The blonde
Yeah, yeah.
is
I was thinking
Lance's
she looked
girlfriend.
familiar. The blonde lady, eh?
Kate Vernon. She was Lorraine.
Yeah, I
Um
was sitting there. I saw her, and she only has that like tiny little bit on camera, and I'm like,
uh-huh.
and voice. I'm like, where have I seen her? It's been recent as well, because
Yeah,
you know it's been a couple. It's been a little bit since I was on Falcon Crest season 5. Like I've been very slowly getting through Dynasty season 5, and so like
right.
I was looking. I'm like, far out. I'm like, so yeah. So it was
Richard's
Lorraine.
daughter.
I knew it was somewhere. I knew it was definitely another 80s soap, but I was like, is it
Yep.
Knots? And I'm like, no, I haven't watched Knots for a while, you know? Like,
The other girl, Claudia Christensen, I think her name is. I think she's from like a Star Trek of some sort. I can't remember.
that does sound like a familiar name.
Yeah, the other girl there, and they talk smack about like Sue Ellen being old enough to be his mother and all that.
I
And
sort of like
make
chuckled because they got worse as they walked away and seemingly louder. Like, she's a little old for
right?
Peter. Yeah, too old for Peter. Like that. And I was
I
like,
know,
Jesus.
and they seemed all nice to like their face, but like real quickly
They could have
turned.
waited until they got more than 3 feet away.
So yeah, he gets all mad because like Sue Ellen is bugged by it, and he's like, what? It only matters how we feel. Why do you have to worry about everybody else? But we always know Sue Ellen always worries about everybody else. She always has.
Yeah.
Um, Going back to the first season.
But she says it really quite clearly here in that scene because she says
Yeah,
the problem is that they think the way I think. Like that's the thing here is that
yeah,
there have been a few little moments where Sue Ellen hasn't cared what anyone thought, and that was she showed that quite a bit when she was told not to get back with JR. That's what I mean with this here. That's a part of the reason why it wouldn't work as well because she sees the same thing that they do.
Right.
she sees herself as being in the wrong.
JR and Catherine bang, and he tells her that he's team Jenna and Bobby, and she gets
Yeah.
all mad, and then she threatens him, and then he's like, "Well, I recorded you, so sorry. I can play that for Bobby whenever."
He basically did it to make sure that Catherine will never get Bobby as well. Because now Jenna's back. If there was ever a chance that Catherine could have gotten him, it won't happen now. Because even if Catherine was to somehow score with Bobby to the point where he was actually going to be in a relationship with her, JR would
Right.
screw it up.
And they already slept together like two other times, too.
Yeah. But this is the
And
time
we
that he
know that
got it. He got proof so that if it ever
he
came
got
to
proof.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. That
Um,
whole bit there, that was just him securing Jenna for Bobby without, or at least
yeah.
what he thought. Yeah. It's
And
crazy. Like, remember what I saw? It's a really well done scene, like the way that they bounce off each other, and then he sort of has her at the end. But I was just sort of thinking about it, and I was just like, man, he's like doing that thing he did in season 3, where he's just hitting all the points. Like he's got Edgar
yep.
Randolph on the run, he's got Cliff being lured exactly where he wants him, and he has Catherine right where he wants her to be too.
Yeah.
Just reminds me a little bit
Um,
of season 3.
yeah. Mark calls Pam. We see that he's in the hospital, but he doesn't say anything to Pam, so we know something's going on with Mark. Jenna tells Bobby that she's fallen in love with him again. Clayton tells Ellie he regrets not staying at South Fork when she had asked him to move in. And then she says, "I cannot marry you," and runs upstairs. And I guess that is what like all of that talk was kind of leading to for Miss Ellie to be like, I don't know, I guess it hit close to home, like trying to pick a wedding date, and she's just like, it's too much. I can't handle it because Miss Ellie runs from her problems now instead of facing them like she used to. But it's sad, and I'm like, poor Clayton, because he was like, I was going to stay tonight, and she's like, no, I can't. So we'll see the next 4 episodes later, and I'm sure they'll be more dramatic because we're building,
They
and we're
will.
halfway through the season now,
Yeah,
right?
officially.
To 30 episodes.
Officially. What was it, like episode 16 we stopped this time? So, yeah, we're
Yeah,
officially
phew.
halfway through. Little over.
Yeah,
Far
so good
out. Like,
stuff.
I forget how, like, long the old shows have been at times. I mean, I'm going to end up going through Melrose Place again, and they have giant seasons as well.
But anything else to say about these 4 episodes of Dallas?
No, I think they were like just it's that thing of where the seasons are getting longer. So I think this is where, I wouldn't say filler, but like this is where stuff starts to get dragged out a little bit.
The third one was definitely filler. There was 10. I My notes were very minimal for that. There was literally like just swimming and like definitely like random things that I mean, it's cute to see, like you said, like we get to see the characters together, the guys were racing in the pool. Like that stuff is fun, but it's still kind of fillery at the same
Yeah.
time. Like it's not really important to storyline. It was really just to get Peter to the house, and that was kind of it. And then have, but yeah, I like Clayton, and I think one of our commenters, LB, commented that their favorite story was Clayton and Ellie getting together because I do like this like Miss Ellie being all dramatic, like, oh, I can't, I gotta run upstairs, and then like of course we know they come back together and have some more sweet moments and all, but it's just
Well,
funny because it's
I just see it as the permanence of everything. Like Ellie's, it's like those commitment things. It's like, it's not that Ellie isn't that type. It's that idea of committing to this man means does that mean that the other man doesn't matter anymore? And it's like, it's all hang-ups about
right.
Jock and being with another man. It's like,
Yeah.
like, if Clayton stays the night, he's going to be in her bed. Like, is
Hmm.
there expectation? Is there not? Like, it's all those things. And like, she's nervous, and then suddenly she just kind of has the like a panic. Not maybe a panic attack, but
Yeah.
she's just like, oh, and she's just like, no, no. And
Yeah.
it's just I think I don't like, I mean, it's dramatic, and I thought it was a little funny the way they did it. Like at the end, it just pops
Yeah.
out. But like, um, it makes sense. Old girl is married to the same bloke for however long. It was like what, 30 or 40 years. He dies. She took forever to accept it, and now she's sort of started to date another man.
Hmm.
And now suddenly, even if they've been dating for a year, maybe marriage does feel too quick for someone whose last relationship was 40 years. Like,
Yeah.
I just think it's like that sort of stuff. And once again, having to get to know another man intimately.
I'm gonna wrap this up. Thank you for joining us for Dallas season 7 continuation. We'll bring you some more next time with 4 more episodes. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you, subscribers, Patreon subscribers, and we will see you next time on Queers and Soups. Farewell.
Yeah.